Alright, pop quiz. Why do publishers fund video games? Is it the passion, the desire for technological innovation? Oh yeah, duh, it's the money. And as obvious as that is, its influences aren't always apparent. Why do some games get endless sequels while others don't? Why do some developers get gobbled up while others are left to shudder? As much as it might bother us gamers who are in it for the overall culture, it comes down to dollars and cents, which is why Circana's monthly digital and retail reports are treated like video game fortune tellers, cluing us in to who sank or swam on the sales charts, not accounting all the DLC it's selling or how many hours everyone is playing, but the simple, dry, objective fact of if a game sold well or not. But as this is the final submission for 2025, we not only have the details for the holiday sales of December, we have the entire year's very best-selling premium games. So let's get into who won and who didn't even place, as well as proof that video game hardware is getting too dang expensive. Like you didn't know already, come on now.
For all those serving on our behalf, our prayers go with you.
The war between Battlefield and COD has been admittedly a little one-sided for Call of Duty, but this year's Battlefield 6 absolutely steamrolled the competition with reckless abandon, making it the single best-selling game in the United States for all of 2025. Now, to be fair, it had a month head start on Call of Duty, which was the best-selling game for November and December. What's equally impressive is Battlefield didn't launch until October, and yet it was still able to overtake other blockbuster franchises and their accumulated sales with a 10 million unit launch month. And personally speaking, I bought a copy, and pretty much everyone I know who plays games did too. How about you? Anybody still sitting on the destructible fence?
But don't forget to take a break and indulge in what the city has to offer.
Thank you very much.
Alright, enough positivity. What do you say we take a peek at some big new games that didn't even place in the top 20 for the month of December? Octopath Traveler 0 received plenty of great reviews from fans and critics. The soundtrack alone is incredible, but it straight up didn't even chart in its launch month. Even worse, that game appears not only on this generation of consoles, but also the last generation of Switch and PlayStation as well as PC. That's a whole lot of platforms to not even chart. How about a chat back in the comments if you played Octopath Traveler 0 and if you think it deserved more attention. Also a no-show for its launch month is Yakuza 0 Director's Cut on Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and PC. Bad month for games with 0 in the name, huh? And honestly, if you're a Yakuza fan, not a total surprise. The fandom was lukewarm at best with the updated features of this version on Switch 2, and that word of mouth seems to have turned off the dedicated cult fanbase. Because trust me, they knew this was coming out.
And find a way home.
What do you say we switch over to some Nintendo news, cause trust me, it's gonna require a little more of an explanation than everybody else. I know, right? How Nintendo? Circana's data comes from retailers. If a cashier is scanning it or a warehouse is shipping it, they're getting that data. But digital sales are a little more imbalanced, specifically because Nintendo straight up doesn't share that information even when other eShop data is shared by third-party developers and publishers. But according to Nintendo's last annual report, digital sales are about 50%, but that's before the Switch 2 launched and early adopters have different tastes and, I don't know, just imagine hypothetically every game we're talking about could have doubled the sales. Good? Great. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond launched in December, and based on its physical copy sales alone, it landed comfortably in 7th place. It's frustrating that we can't get the full scope because obviously there was a ton of anticipation. I mean, how many years did people rewatch that teaser trailer? And that was before they switched developers, and oh my god, was it really almost a decade? It was an obvious day one buy for GameCube fans, but it got me curious if old school gamers still need that physical plastic cart or if they're cool with going all digital. How about a chat back in the comments about which version of Prime 4 you bought? In fact, a ton of Switch 2 and Switch 1 games chart on retail sales like Pokemon ZA, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and last month's Kirby Air Riders. But you know what completely fell off the charts? Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. It only launched in November and it's already MIA. It's been a decade since Koei Tecmo created this Musa Zelda mashup, but does the name Hyrule Warriors really inform the average dude looking at the shelf that this is brand new, officially recognized Zelda timeline canon? I'm just saying it's from the Wii U era and it could use a rebrand.
Allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows.
But now let's tackle the real deal biggest data-driven note. Circana's Matt Piscatella pointed out a pretty alarming trend when it comes to hardware sales. Hardware meaning consoles, not accessories like controllers. So Switch 2 is already pulling in an ungodly 4.4 million units. It's not even the fastest ever selling by number, that's still the Game Boy Advance. But would you believe the overall hardware units are down while consumer spending is up? Yeah, essentially those price increases on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox family have created a strange paradox where even when the units dropped by 8%, the consumer spending jumped by 18%, giving it a strong 9% increase from 2024, which means yes, we're all spending more for less. Can that trend really continue? Are you ready to buy some new consoles in 2026? Seriously, chat back in the comments, cause color me skeptical.
And I'll extend a personal thank you, Mr. Hironobu Sakaguchi, who made me fall in love with games and inspired me to become a game dev. So thank you, Mr. Sakaguchi.
But before we close out, let's throw one big caveat on the concept of sales. These are the financials of games, but not necessarily the culture. An influencing factor, sure, but not the defining one. For example, take a peek at what games are getting the most engagement, actually played by people who like to play games, and you'll see games like Repo or quick spikes for quality single-player campaigns like Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But it's also these casual sales like the booming sports sim market that ultimately support the overall industry to take chances, fund smaller studios, or roll the dice on a sequel for a passionate fan base. It's all connected to one big, sometimes happy industry. But that's just my take. How about chat back if the sales charts match your predictions and what games you expect to do well in January? I'm gonna guess Code Vein 2 because it's pretty much the only new premium game. Head over to GameRant.com for even more cool stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everybody!